The New York Times published an article last weekend entitled "We Are Sliding Back into the Middle Ages," written by Katja Underman, and it is very interesting in its observation in the rise of beliefs in the supernatural, which she calls the Re-Enchantment of the United States. And she goes by the name Catherine D. on her Substack default.blog, and I think she does a very good job of balancing modern internet culture with respect to non-Western and even controversial belief systems and traditions. And you can read the full article for yourself at the New York Times, but what it's explaining is that we're entering into a period, albeit a very chaotic period, when what would formerly be called niche or controversial ideas are breaking into the mainstream and very rapidly doing so. And the article itself is very balanced. It doesn't make any claims that niche ideas are ridiculous or untrue, and it's rather just journalistically describing the phenomenon in question. And when I read the New York Times particularly, I'm just waiting for some kind of passive-aggressive comment that conspiracies don't exist and that astrology is only for fools, but thankfully she doesn't go there, and she actually gives support to astrology, which I'll talk about in a little bit. We are now firmly in an era in American and Western culture of profound questioning of what is actually true, particularly with regards to the supernatural. And you see it just on the surface with the growth of Catholic and Orthodox Christian churches, and that adult baptisms are higher than these churches have ever seen. And another example is Sean Stone was on Tucker Carlson's show last week, and he is a longtime occult researcher, and they have a very calm and intelligent discussion about the occult, about the supernatural, and about secret societies being presented to Tucker's massive audience. As I was listening to it, I just couldn't help but think that, wow, a conversation like this would never have been entertained for more than 2 minutes on such a large platform that Tucker has just 10 years ago. It was almost unheard of, and so much has changed in a short period of time of accepting a wider range of beliefs as potentially being valid and just having an open discussion about them. So why is this happening? Because quite simply, the internet has opened what you can call portals into vast realms of information that were only available in obscure texts in the library before the internet. So nowadays you can learn about secret societies and their hidden rituals without ever even having to join a secret society and commit to their vows of secrecy or know the people to get into the secret society. You can learn all about the history of them and their various belief systems. So there's this opening up of information of things that were hidden are now being revealed to people just openly on an internet search engine. So at the core of this new wave of interest in the occult is that it is a broad reaction to the Enlightenment idea that science, through observation and experiment, using instruments that are confided to the five senses, that is going to produce the most accurate understanding of the truth about the world. So in the Times article, Catherine mentions that she had received Reiki treatment in her hospital when she was pregnant. And Reiki assumes, as Western medicine does not, that energy fields that we cannot see or measure with our instruments, they actually exist and have important effects on our health. Also, she notes that 30% of respondents to a poll revealed that they consult horoscopic astrology, tarot, or fortune tellers, and they have done so within the last year. And she writes, quote, "In 1917, the sociologist Max Weber argued that a long process of rationalization, culminating in modernity, was eliminating, quote, mysterious incalculable forces, unquote, from the world. Science would explain, technology would master, and magic would disappear. For such a brief stretch of modern history, he seemed right. The enduring human instinct to believe in the otherworldly declined as empiricism, common evidentiary standards, and for the shortest period of all, mass media produced a rough consensus about what was real. Now we seem to be sliding back." She goes on, "After all, re-enchantment doesn't mean irrational or untrue or conspiracy, though it can lead there. Rather, it's the reemergence of one of the oldest and most durable features of human experience, the sense that the world is bigger than what human knowledge can at any particular moment measure," unquote. So she's talking about a reaction to Enlightenment ideals, particularly Enlightenment ideals of how does the world work? So we're talking about science, the observation and investigation of what is real and what is not real. So this reemergence, this rediscovery of pre-Enlightenment belief systems, it's happening. But we also have to admit that the Western world has a lot of uphill climbing to do if it's going to realign itself with the principles of nature, of the governing principles of the natural world, as well as an accurate conception of what human nature is. And these are the foundations of a flourishing civilization, when you can align yourself with how the world is structured intelligently and become in sync and harmonious with the world that you live in. The decline of the West is real, and the reaction to that decline is starting with this reassessment of spiritual reality. What are the spiritual principles that are governing the world, not just the physical ones that the Enlightenment focuses on. And the way to stop the decline, it doesn't involve just tweaking political agendas or making small adjustments. So in other words, the West is recognizing that we are in a kind of spiritual crisis, and the spiritual question, or you could say the supernatural reality, that has to be investigated, and from there then we can start to make material adjustments. So the root of the problem is being recognized as what is spiritually relevant in life, and what are these traditions that have been essentially forgotten about or deemed as superstitious or ridiculous for such a long period of time, and now that's all changing. So people are looking for alternative explanations to reality and alternative perspectives that are anything but the perspective that we've all been taught. That these perspectives we've been taught, they're not leading people to the prosperity that we've been taught they would, but are rather breaking down in front of our eyes. So Catherine says that the world is seeming more medieval. And maybe she just uses that word medieval for editorial flavor so that people will click on the link. But the zeitgeist that I'm talking about, this growing acceptance of the supernatural and trying to figure out how the supernatural actually works, and all of this, and that the supernatural is very important to our daily lives, really it's a post-Enlightenment way of perceiving the world. So we're moving beyond the Enlightenment understanding of the world. So it's not just that we're going pre-Enlightenment. Well, pre-Enlightenment was all of history before the Enlightenment. So the medieval period was a specific time. We're moving beyond the Enlightenment period of time, but we're also we're not going to stick in one certain period of time, say the medieval period. We can go back to ancient history and study what the beliefs were in ancient history regarding the supernatural. So we don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater of Enlightenment. So the Enlightenment concepts of equal treatment under the law, no taxation without representation, the consent of the governed, and others. We don't have to get rid of all of Enlightenment conceptions together. But what is being thrown out is the conception that reality is some kind of physical mechanical device, that at the end of the day, reality is just a bunch of tiny balls bouncing around, atoms, and that's pretty much it. That's what reality is. We're moving past that as the finality of what reality is. And in many ways, I think we're going to begin to see cracks starting to form in the foundation of the European Enlightenment in the coming years, starting with people recognizing that its pride and joy concept, democracy, has devolved into an oligarchic pay-to-play farce of itself, at least on the national level. But that political discussion is a video for another day. This post-Enlightenment world we're collectively entering into is a world of wonder, of speculation, to rediscover what was once seen as taboo, and to, of course, not to take the government at its word, and above all, rethinking the rationalist worldview of the Enlightenment, that our world can be completely explained by material forces. And that is what brings me to astrology. And I was pleasantly surprised to see Catherine, the author of the New York Times article, give a defense of astrology on Substack in response to a very typical snide comment about astrology that astrologers, of course, we see all the time. So the comment read, quote, "Astrology is Groyper memes for girls. I see astrology promoted mostly by women online and in real life. Sort of a serious connection to Groypers, yes, but I do think indulging in astrology/superstition and right-wing shitposting both undermine the foundations of a rational liberal society to different extents," unquote. Yes, so the occult sciences are undermining rational liberal society. The two are essentially at odds with one another. Astrology is an occult science. You can't see the energy around you with your five senses. Rational liberal society is based on the Enlightenment principles that all of reality can be described using your five senses. So of course, they're at odds with one another. So Catherine responds, quote, "Astrology isn't superstitious. If we want to get super in the weeds here, it's an ecosystem of hermeneutical traditions that are older than rational liberal society. Also, capital liberal society has historically dismissed indigenous and non-Western ways of knowing as superstition too, often in service of much worse politics than LOL, I'm a Pisces," unquote. So she's giving a just response to the idea that astrology is something to just laugh at and group into just some kind of internet subculture, because it's not. It's a huge subject that all civilizations have engaged in pre-Enlightenment. And it can be very frustrating as an astrologer to come across these comments that are just dismissing astrology outright. They ridicule it, they say it's fake, it doesn't really work, it's your imagination, it's a feminine pastime, it's hokey, whatever. And in my view, it's essentially useless to argue or try to give a defense of astrology in a single paragraph to people with closed minds. For example, the previous comment that person made that Catherine responded to. But you see it all the time, and you just kind of have to let it go and allow then allow the people with open minds that want to learn practices that come from other cultures pre-Enlightenment, cultures that, for thousands of years, people have seen the relationship between the heavens and the earth. And only recently, again, after the Enlightenment, were these practices abandoned or seen as not real whatsoever. And so the fact remains that astrology is growing in popularity because of the phenomenon of questioning the Enlightenment materialist paradigm that is not leading people to greater prosperity in our current age. And I believe that underneath these kind of snide dismissals and these comments, there's a kind of intimidation or maybe even a fear that the occult sciences and astrology have a deep veracity to them, that there may be a there. And after all, as I keep saying, every civilization prior to the European Enlightenment accepted that there was a relationship between earthly and celestial events. Literally every single one had their own mythology. They are all very different. They have different interpretations, different calculations, different cosmologies. But they all took very seriously the logos, meaning the order of the sky, and that it has an effect on the earth. And it also does have effects on one's personality. And of course, in the plant world, just look at the phases of the moon. They affect the earth, the ocean's tides. That is one effect, that what happens in the sky affects the earth. The moon's cycle is 28 days. A woman's menstrual cycle is 28 days. The effects don't stop there. Of course they don't stop there. You can keep digging deeper and deeper. And this denial of the veracity or the possibility that there may be a relationship between the earth and the heavens, it reveals this underpinning arrogance of mainstream rationalism, and that it has a very narrow bandwidth, that bandwidth being the five senses, of understanding the nature of reality in its totality. And now, after centuries of rationalism, I believe that the mainstream Western culture is so far behind in understanding the occult and mysticism that what's going to happen is that they're going to have to rethink their entire paradigm and their worldview in order to begin to incorporate these ideas that they so have long dismissed. And the people who are too lazy to do so, they're just going to continue to scoff at suggestions that there's more to the story, to reality. And it's not that astrology was never a Western tradition. What happened is that secret societies in the Enlightenment on, they held that information to themselves. So it's not that the elite at least in higher levels of society and higher levels of the hierarchy, they never stopped believing in these mystical traditions. They did. They just didn't propagate it to the mass of society. They wanted to keep that very powerful information to themselves, of course, for reasons of assuming more power and having keeping that understanding of how the world works supernaturally to their friends, their kin, so that they could then have a certain ability to rule over to a better degree. So interest in astrology, it's going to just keep continuing. And as I mentioned, it's going to be an uphill battle to demonstrate to naysayers and critics how it works and what its actual benefits are. And what I believe the problem with astrology is today, it's the lack of solid, competent astrology and astrologers. And it's that the art and science of astrology gets watered down in the internet meme culture, and it gives very generic effects mixed with new agey spiritual concepts. And so it makes it very easy for deniers of astrology to say it's all fake and it's superstitious, because that kind of cheap pop astrology, it doesn't help elucidate the complexity of what astrology actually is. And that's a part of what my mission is to demonstrate that astrology is so much more than one's sun sign, one's ascendant and moon signs. And Vedic astrology in particular has very key techniques that bring out this complexity of human nature and human beings. And astrology itself is a very technical and mathematical area of study. So one of the core problems that I see that with astrology now, in this resurgence of interest in the supernatural and of astrology, is this oversimplification of how it works in terms of physical events and also in people's psychology. So that's something that I'm working to show that there's a lot more to it, and that it's very difficult to make assumptions about people in just one, say, little meme. Some of it has some truth, but the risk is that the meme culture will it'll start to make it look very ridiculous. And that's what the sun sign columns did in newspapers for many long years, is that people just thought that's what astrology was, just a really quick daily prediction based on one's sun sign. And there's so much more to actually making an accurate prediction. But in any case, it's very encouraging to see that this so-called re-enchantment of the world is even reaching the pages of the New York Times. So we're in a midst of a kind of spiritual reset, and barriers of what is the acceptable discourse are being broken down in real time. And in my view, there's so much more to look forward to in this regard, and positive developments that can be made so that people can grasp the larger spiritual reality happening. And I, of course, do that through the Vedic system of astrology, Vedic philosophy, but I also involve the philosophies of Western cultures too. I don't isolate myself to just one. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.